Sonship doing it sweeter. Sonship doing it sweeter. Sonship doing it sweeter. Sonship doing it sweeter.
Okay, Sonship, aka Kerry Evans, how's it going, bruv? Pleasure to meet ya.
Absolutely wicked.
Now, I tried to dig up a bit of dirt on the internet of you last night, but
yeah.
you're quite a private man. There weren't much on there at all. I know you got a bit of a jazz background and you're musically trained, but how did you get into producing and how did you get into garage?
Got into producing in the late 80s, I suppose. So I was in quite a well-known band at the time called the Brand New Heavies.
Right,
and
okay.
I was kind of just really into kind of like, you know, dance music that was around, and just really wanted to start making tunes myself. And yeah, just got a sampler, had a little Atari, and before we knew it, the first thing I did was with a whole singer called Colonel Abrams.
Oh right, yeah.
Trap,
yeah.
But I did a couple of tunes with him. Met him in America, and yeah, it was the first thing I did, and just ain't stopped since, really.
Wow. So what influenced?
The garage thing, I suppose. I've always been into kind of, you know, dance music,
Yeah.
whatever, and you know, it's just a kind of, you know, garage is just kind of, you know, on the same path, you know, I mean, comes from, you know, house music,
Yeah.
it's garage, the whole thing.
So what was there, like a particular track that influenced you into producing garage? Was there something that you heard
in
and
the
thought?
UK garage.
Well, yeah. Just was there something that you thought? I mean, obviously, Brand New Heavies was quite a diverse group. You've done a lot of different stuff.
Well, when I first started producing, it was kind of more soul, funk, and I suppose like hip hoppy. I mean,
Yeah.
the first remixes I did, I think there was like Naughty by Nature and a few other things like that.
Really?
Jungle Brothers.
Wow.
It was like quite hip hop based. But I think what really got me into UK garage was I was just mental on the parts. I never used to go out at all. I was like a hermit. But I remember I just like on the Sundays I used to have like the radio on in every room.
Yeah.
And just like walk around, and it was all out the walk beelines. You know, I suppose like speed garage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
First called. And then I remember hearing kind of like, well, to me it was one of the first tracks, that Den 2 track.
Yeah.
Was it Destiny?
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know it was called Destiny until a couple of years ago. But I just, when I heard that, it just sounded like funk to me, and I absolutely loved it. I just loved the way it was just so chopped up. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
And then
yeah.
everyone started, you know, playing that with all that bass line stuff. And it was just, it just had a vibe about it. Do you know what I mean? There was that tune, there was M-Dubs,
Yeah.
OU, a few of them like early two.
So is that when you started getting into garage then? You started producing properly?
Yeah, round about that kind of time, really. Yeah,
Wow.
just not too long after that. I mean, I soaked all that stuff up, and I was listening to that stuff, and then I think the first garage tune I made was called City Life. It was on the Filter label.
That's right. Yeah.
And I remember like this kid that used to work for the label. He's going, oh, I'm just, you know, because I've been listening to that stuff, and you know, it was a conscious effort on my part to go, well, I just want to get on this tip.
Yeah.
And I never forget this kid who was at the label. He was in Release the Groove, and he phoned me and goes, oh, Kerry, Matt Jam and Carl just like heard your tune, and they're dancing around the record shop, and I'm like, they reckon they was going to play it, and they showed so like that Saturday I was like tuned in, and like, you know, sure enough they play, like, you know, I mean, it's little things like that like make my day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
When,
yeah.
you know, people you respect or whatever will play your tune, and and I still get that buzz now. It's like the other week when we just had that Almighty Father tune out.
That's right. Yeah.
And I heard that John Peel phoned up before he died.
Yeah.
You know, I get more of a buzz out of, you know, people like that.
That's your
Do you know what
pleasure.
I mean?
Yeah.
Than winning awards or whatever.
How about the name Sonship? How did you come up?
That's a jazz connection from, like, it's an old jazz thing. Like you said earlier,
Yeah.
Big jazz connection. There's a guy called John Coltrane who's quite a big influence to me.
Okay.
And he's done an album called Sunship, so I nicked the name.
So you need the name off his album.
Off his album, yeah.
Nice one. Speaking of albums, you had one out early on yourself with Filter Records when garage was still relatively small commercial wise. How did that come about?
Well, that was the second album I'd done. I'd already done one album with Filter, I think in about 95 and 96, which was kind of quite a kind of fusion of different kind of styles, I suppose. Won a Mobo for it, but sold nothing.
Which was that one?
It was just called Sunship by Sonship.
Yeah, that was. What's the one with Check 1 2 on it?
That was called Is This Real?
That's right.
That's the second album
yeah.
I did. And yeah, you're right. That was what I can't remember what year that was out, but yeah, Check 1 2 was on there, and the early version was Try Me Out. plus a few other tunes.
Did you get a lot of production and remix work off the back of that? Because there was a time when every major artist had a Sunship mix.
Off the back of that
Off the back of your album, or?
Well, I think after that, because I was doing that, and then there was a few. I just started doing a few. There were a few kind of club tunes like Friendly Pressure.
Yeah.
Like Each Time.
Big tune.
You know,
I mean, how did you make E17 sound good, bro? How did you do that? Come on.
Cheers, guys. No, but there was a few kind of like tunes, and things were starting to, you know, I was doing a few remixes for other people, and things started to build. And then I think what happened was this guy who was with management at the time goes, "Hey, what do you think of this tune?" And it was just like these two girls from Manchester, and I listened to it and I thought, yeah, it sounds alright, I like the bridge on that, so I did a remix, and that was Flowers. Do you know what I mean? And then I think once that, I mean, I did the mix, and then didn't think anything of it.
Couldn't have expected it to go.
I had, you know what I mean? I mean, I wasn't kind of like surprised, because the whole scene was building. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing was building, but it was quite. Because no one touched it for a few months, and then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, it did build up a bit. It was strange, wasn't it? Like,
and then, but once that kind of went in the whatevers, that's when the mixes started flying in.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
From one side, I mean, was that number one or number two? Number two,
was
wasn't
number
it?
two, but also that week had the one on Craig's one, the Fill Me In.
Oh, top remix, yeah. So that was a good week for you then.
Yeah, it's alright. It was a good week for them.
What did you do on that? You've done about 200,000. I see your little plaque downstairs.
Flowers.
Yeah,
I probably did more than that in the end. Yeah.
So,
Well, no, it's nice. I mean, kind of to think, yeah, because you know, a tune like that. I mean, basically, when they brought it to me, all it was some kind of, you know, washed up R&B tune that they really tried to put out, and basically, you know, not kind of blowing my own trumpet or anything, but I made that tune where it was.
Yeah, that's
Do you know what I mean? Because it was kind of, well, you know, I ditched all the music, which is what most remixers do anyway.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also I kind of added my own hooks, like I chopped up that. Do you know what I mean? So you basically, you know, sped it up, and yeah, it's a kind of a nice feeling to know that you know you've done that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All right, it was a great song, whatever, but I think, you know, it was the production thing
that took it to
the
next level.
Just the timing as well.
What's your approach to making a track? I mean, where do you start when you're sitting down building a beat, whether it be like an original production or a remix? Where do you start?
I think it all varies. I think, you know, the first and foremost thing is just being inspired.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, you can be anywhere and something will come in your head, or you'll be listening to something and that'll stay with you, and you're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to get on that tip. Or, you know, you'll just hear a wicked sound. If you've got a sample, or you've got something else, and you think, oh, that's wicked, and then you start building up around that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because one of your sort of the trends you set was, like you said before, chopping up the vocals, a little bit of high pass, a little bit of low pass filter on them, and making a melody out of that. Was that something that you consciously done, or did that just come about? And
you know, again, I mean, I think the first person I heard that do that was MK. Basically, who was kind of.
But you kind of really made it a melody, as opposed to just, like, for me anyway, you know, buying a lot of your early records.
I have to say,
that's what hooked me to the records.
Was probably, you know, the forerunner of the, you know, I said, you know, I mean, MK. I don't know. There was just something about, you know, there was a certain mixes, especially that his Jodeci.
Yeah, that's right.
Freak mix, you know, and you know, the music's running through. I mean, to me, those things, you know, all get a lot of that kind of, you know, early 90s kind of American kind of house, or you see like US garage music. They all use that kind of sampling that technique, and so it just soaks it up really.
Inspired.
It's a rhythmic thing, but like you say, it's a you know, you can end up. It's like with when I did All I Want, the Mystique tune, they didn't have a bridge.
Yeah.
So what did I have to do? You have to make a bridge. They still didn't give me no publishing.
The funniest thing on that was watching them try and do it in the video. So, what would you say to date your favourite production and favourite remixes? If you had to pick one of each, what sort of stands out for you? Just from a personal level, not even not financially or commercially.
I mean, it's difficult to say really. There's been a couple of little mixes that I did over the last few years, which I've quite liked.
Yeah.
And there was a Gabrielle one called Out of Reach, which I quite like. And there was a Y Tribe remix, Favourite Girl, which I quite like as well.
2002, after your sort of chart, the Sonship dominance, shall we say, you kind of went a bit quiet. I mean, what do you think that was due to? Was that you had so much success the previous year, and then you kind of it seemed like from DJing and stuff, you took a bit of time out from the scene?
Well, basically the thing was, I embarked on doing an album, was signed to Go Beat, and spent about the best part of 2 years actually, solid working on an album. Actually finished it, all ready to come with the music, and then it all went wrong with Go Beat, whatever they've kind of had their problems anyway, and I think they got something together with Ireland, and basically it just all went tits up, and basically decided to say to me, sorry Kel, that's it mate. So it was a kind of kick in the stomach, especially as I had kind of, do you know what I mean?
2 years
of work there waiting to come out. I was thinking of, using some of it, but obviously it's all locked up in legal stuff.
Yeah.
So what do? You just carry on and crack on with some new gear, and the first of which was like when I partnered up with Ross Allen, who used to be who I know from the old Filter days, got a label called Casual, and he was very interested in what I was doing anyway.
Yeah.
So we decided to come with that.
You're just saying about Ross there, you come back strong with Almighty Father this year. That's been massive in the clubs. What's your plans with that, and what's your plans for the next 12 months with your production? And
just to carry on, but basically going to get a follow up to that one, probably with Warrior again.
Yeah.
And just carry on making music. Hopefully do an album. And
so you're not kind of wary of going into the whole album thing again after you wasted your time, like?
No, not at all. I mean, I've done albums before in the past. If whatever happens.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of I think you can't be pessimistic.
That's right. Yeah.
It's all these things happen for a reason, and you just carry on. Loving the music.
Quite chill, bruv. It's very it's relaxing. So I mean, if you could pick anyone, dead or alive, to work with, anyone at all, who would you go for?
What, a vocalist?
Anyone of your choice.
Oh, that's a very difficult question.
I mean, you can have 2 or 3. You don't have to pick one.
I mean, I think it was good to work with Craig because he was such a technically good singer. There's some great up and coming singers.
Yeah.
That I've been working with even recently. I think I've got that technical ability, but it's kind of that coupled with just the vision to actually make a rounded album of doing different styles of music. Where you think people like Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, that kind of classic soul period. Is finding people of that stature.
Yeah.
That's what I'd ideally like to. It's just a singer that's not just a good singer, but it's just got an idea about, can cover quite a few bits of ground. In one, actually saying something. So
away from the studio, what other interests do you have? How do you relax? Any other creative outlets?
Wine, women, song.
Would you do? I mean, anything you particularly like doing? Favourite football team?
Yeah, absolutely love football. I just, I like going to football. Yeah, football really.
That's your main.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing else. Music and football.
And finally, I need 3 things: your favourite film, your favourite food, and your favourite song.
Favourite film, Scarface, easy. Favourite food?
The music industry's favourite.
Favourite food, egg and chips.
Leon said you'd say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much. And what was the other one? Favourite song?
Favourite song?
Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice.
We'll leave it there. Cheers, mate.
Nice.
Cool.
Let's get that in there.